Hello and hi everyone. So, good evening to everyone since it is evening here. Good evening to my beloved lecturer, Madam Suchitra, and my fellow friends who are watching this. Welcome to my channel, and I'm Amirul, and today I will be presenting the cultural dimensions in Japan together with my partner Nurul Hasnina. Okay, hope you all can enjoy the presentation and focus. Okay, so first things first, before we move into the cultural dimensions, I will start with the demographics of Japan. So the first one is the population. Japan population is around 126 million approximately and ranked 11th globally. It is also one of the highest country in Asia, which is ranked 6th. So next one is the fertility rate. So the total fertility rate for Japan is 1.4 birth per woman. Also, the fertility rate has been descending since 1955, which is the highest was 3. Okay, well, for the last one is life expectancy. It has been increasing from years to years, where in 2020, life expectancy for males is 81.9 years, while for women, a quite bigger number than men, which is 88.1 years. Averagely, both males and females' life expectancy is around 85 years. Okay, so why Japan? Uh, Maybe most of y'all be wondering why we choose Japan. So the reason we choose Japan to analyze, as you can see here in the slides, is because one, the economic, technology, and social factors. We have heard a lot about Japan greatness, and it amazes us to learn more about them. Like for instance, from the Hiroshima bombing, we can see that they built their country very fast and become one of the uh, what we can say like one of the top country in the world right now. Beside Japan and Malaysia are Asian countries, so we might find similarities or fun facts between them that can be used to develop our country. Um, Next, Japan citizens also attract us to know more about them due to their good attitude. Like, for instance, we can see in real life or movies, Japanese is a very disciplined people, and we like to follow their good attitude. Okay, other than that, most of us know that their entertainment give a big impact on our entertainment. Like their animes and cartoons are favorable by nations. So some examples for animes cartoon like Doraemon and Naruto. Most Malaysians like to watch them because they are fun to watch together with family and friends. Also, yeah, it's suitable for all ages. Now, let's move on to the cultural dimensions. So, I have done my research regarding Japan based on Hall's cultural dimensions, and I will explain to you one by one. So, for the first one is context. Japan is known as a high context culture. This is because they usually use nonverbal communications on daily basis. For instance, like eye-to-eye contact and facial expressions to express their feelings. Next, they also put trust as the crucial factor before making a business deal. They usually make sure that they bond well with the people before making a deal. Furthermore, Japanese are also trained to follow a group decision. For example, like they commonly will have a discussion before agreeing to a decision. Second, Japan is a low territoriality culture. For your information, Japan is a country that has a small space and crowded with people. As I explained before, their population is like around 100 million. Okay, for Japanese, they do not require a lot of space for living and working. So they usually work in an office or a room that is packed with other employees. However, even though they don't require much space, they still have their own personal space, but not when they are socializing. When socializing, they are comfortable to be close with other people. Okay, the last and the third one, Japan is a monochronic culture. What it means by monochronic culture. So people in monochronic culture put time as their main priority, just like the Japanese. In Japan, it is a common sense to be on time, and it is rude to disobey it. For example, Japanese usually arrive at their workplace 5 minutes earlier. We can see this on media, on social media, or even in the television, like dramas, where we can see that Japanese are very disciplined and uh, follow the rules.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Japanese culture based on HOFSTEDE culture dimensions. So I've chosen three culture dimensions, which are masculinity, collectivism, and power distance. Okay, so for the first one, masculinity. Japan has a high masculinity index because Japanese people are very competitive. Being masculine means the desire to become the best, meanwhile, being feminine is liking what you do rather than having a competition to become the best. For example, we can see a severe competition between different groups. From a very young age at kindergartens, children will learn on how to compete with different groups, usually during the sports day, traditionally the red team against the white team. Next, masculinity is the main motivational factor in business. This is the reason why Japan becomes a powerful country. Being workaholic is considered as the masculine norm of hard and long working hours. Workaholism is another expression of masculinity, and even until now, it is still hard for women to climb up the corporate ladders in Japan. This is because men will work hard for making a lot of money for their families and also to help the business to grow rapidly. Strict gender roles between male and female. For example, gender roles where a man provides for his family and a woman needs to stay at home and being a housewife. They need to do the housework and also to care for the children. Men were taught to be strong, tough, and encouraged to have control over children and women. Japanese women, on the other hand, were taught to be reserved and obedient towards their husbands. Secondly, collectivism, working as a group. This means that an employee in Japan must keep their superiors informed about what they are doing. Every decision, no matter how small it may seem, must get an approval from the superiors. Employees should report everything to their bosses before trying to take care of anything on their own. Families and communities have a central role. The Japanese feel a heightened sense of belonging and loyalty towards their family. As the collectivistic society stresses on interdependence, individuals need to serve their family's interests before their own. The structure within the family is usually patriarchal. It is assumed that the husband or the father will be the breadwinner and will earn the utmost respect from his family. Most mothers will dedicate their time to their housework and also to care for their children. They have a lot of control over their children in their families. They make most decisions for their children's future, especially about the search of the best educational opportunity. Long-lasting relationship. In a collectivist culture, it is difficult for them to build relationship with new people. This is because it is more difficult to meet each other. Strangers are more likely to remain strangers to those from a collectivistic culture compared to people from individualistic culture. In a collectivist society, maintaining harmony within interpersonal relationship is of utmost importance. This is possibly because these relationships are so long-lasting and it is difficult to change. The failure to maintain the peace will mean long-term unhappiness to those involved. Okay, so the last one is power distance. Japan is a hierarchical community. In a company, we can see that Japanese employees need to respect their superiors. They will listen to their superiors and not question every decision. In a family, children must know how to treat each other and respect the elders. For example, they need to treat their siblings nicely, and also they need to respect the elder by calling them brother or sister, and they also need to respect the head of the family, which is their fathers. In a school, Japanese students are very respectful towards their teachers. They will be polite with the teachers by using nice words, and also they won't fight back, and also they will bow their heads when they meet each other.
Now, I will explain to you the comparison between Malaysia and Japan based on Hall's cultural dimension. So, for the first one is context. Like Japan, Malaysia is also a high context culture. So, there is not much difference between them. For example, like Japan use non-verbal communication, so Malaysian also relies on non-verbal and implicit communication, like the gestures, vocal tones, and actions. Uh, Besides, Malaysian also makes decision based on group discussion, just like the Japanese. So, like when in a meeting, for example, we will have a meeting and we'll discuss about an issue, and also we'll have a decision about it together. So there is no misunderstanding between us. Okay, for the second cultural dimension, which is time, is different. Unlike Japan, Malaysia is a polychronic culture. Polychronic culture means Malaysian does not prioritize time. For Malaysian, time is flexible, and that means like we can do our works anytime that we want. For example, like Japan will do works on time, like during their work time, but Malaysian can do their work during their free time, like during the night or any time that they are free. So besides, being late like 5 minutes is not a big deal for Malaysian. In fact, Malaysian is like is stereotyped by people that we are always late to a workplace or meeting someone. So for the last cultural dimension, which is space, similar to Japan, Malaysia is also a low territoriality culture. However, regarding the workplace and living space, some Malaysians prefer like a big and luxury space, so we feel comfortable. So the similarity are like Malaysian usually ignore the boundaries when they are socializing, just like the Japanese. However, there is a boundary between a Malaysian man and a Malaysian woman when they are talking, as it is inappropriate for a man and a woman to be close with each other. This also related to the culture and our religion. So I think that's all for my part. Thank you for listening.
So right now we're going to see the comparison between Japan and Malaysia based on Hofstede cultural dimensions. Okay, so for the first one, masculinity. Japan has a high masculinity index, but Malaysia has a balanced masculinity index. This is because Malaysia is a country that practices masculinity and femininity in most cases. Malaysians are caring for others, and the quality of life is the sign of success. Malaysians are competitive, but they still like what they do. Malaysians are still practicing strict gender roles. This can easily be seen in a family where most women need to stay at home being a housewife while a man will go to work. Secondly, collectivism. Japan and Malaysia are both a collectivistic country. Both countries prefer to make decisions as a group rather than to make decisions as an individual. Families are important, and parents' validations are required for their children if they want to do something. Families' decisions are necessary. For example, if the children want to get married, they need to have their parents' validation or agreement. Same goes to when they want to further their studies. Encourage strong relationships. Strong and long-lasting relationships are important because a collectivistic society put a lot of efforts in maintaining the relationship. They prefer to be with their circle rather than to open up to a new circle or to a new group. Last one is power distance. Malaysia has a higher power distance index compared to Japan. Malaysia scores very high on this dimension, meaning that people in Malaysia accept hierarchical order in which everybody has a position and no further justification is required. Malaysia values hierarchical order in every sector. In a workplace, at home, or in a school, hierarchy is applied and everyone needs to follow the hierarchical order. Malaysia will definitely follow the head of certain group. Subordinates are required to be told what to do. Okay, so we've come into the conclusion. We can say that Japan and Malaysia are quite similar in some aspects. For example, Japan and Malaysia are a high context culture, a low territoriality country, and a collectivistic society. This means that both countries use nonverbal and verbal communication. Both countries do not really care about the space, and also both countries make decisions as a group rather than make decisions as an individual. For the next one, both countries have several differences. We can see that Malaysia is a polychronic culture, unlike Japan. For Malaysian, time is not as important as for the Japanese. Malaysia has a balanced masculinity index. Meanwhile, Japan has a high masculinity index. This means that Malaysia applies masculinity and femininity in their daily life. Malaysia has a higher power distance index compared to Japan. Malaysians accept hierarchical order in every sector. And the last one, the benefits of learning different cultures. Okay, the benefits are it gives us further understanding about other cultures. We get to know the world better as well as widen our knowledge. We can easily fit into different cultures and learn more about them. Second, it helps overcome misconception and stereotyping. We are able to go deeper into certain culture by observing their culture, and we may use the iceberg theory to find out whether our assumptions are right or wrong. This can help us also to prevent stereotyping and misunderstanding. The last one, it improves communication between different cultures. By learning different cultures, it helps us to communicate effectively between cultures, understand their nonverbal and verbal communication, so that it will be easier for us to interact with them, and also we can respect each other's values and beliefs. Therefore, we hope that you can understand on what we have explained about Japan just now and gain some new and interesting knowledge about Japanese culture and lifestyle. It is exciting to learn about different cultures because all of us live differently according to our own culture. That's all from us. Thank you.